What do you think direct observation means?
Direct observation means you are directly observing everything that you are focusing on.
Wow. And what does that have to do with art?
Well, if you're not directly observing something, then what are you doing?
What do you
Obviously
think?
not paying attention. I think that direct observing is observing what's directly in front of you.
Uh-huh.
And
Paying attention to details.
just paying attention to the details in the thing that is right in front of you.
And what are you doing with that thing?
Art?
Directly observing
Art.
it.
Art.
Directly observing it.
Obviously. Okay, 6th grade, we are doing direct observation for this project. That means that you are drawing from your observation, not from a picture, okay? It is important that you stay in the same seat for the entire project, so every day you need to be sitting in the same place so that you know that you're getting the same angle. If I'm sitting here, I need to make sure I stay here. If I move over here, that completely changes what everything looks like, okay? So from where I'm sitting, the bowl would be right in the front, but depending on where I moved, it might change the way that it looks, okay? Something that you can use to help you is a pencil. So if you have your pencil in your hand, you can measure the things that are in your drawing based on how big they are with your pencil. So hold your hand out completely in front of you, don't bend your elbow, and you can, with your thumb, say, okay, the cup is about this tall, okay? And then if you moved it over, you could see that that cup behind it is a little bit taller, so it'd be more like this. Got it? And that can help you when you move it down onto your paper to help measure, okay? The same thing goes for right here. You can use your pencil to help you measure exactly how big things are. And then you can use that same measurement on your paper. The second thing that's really important is that you have your paper directly in front of where you are drawing. If you had your paper turned to the side like this and you had to go back and forth with your head like this, it's gonna really throw off your drawing. So you need to have it so it's right in front of you so you can just look straight up and see the thing that you are drawing. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you start drawing is pick one item that you're going to base everything else off of. It's easiest to pick the one in the middle, so we're going to do the bowl first. And then everything else will be drawn based on the way that we draw the bowl, okay? With my fingers, I can use my pencil, so if I'm looking out, I can measure that the bowl is about this high, which is what I have, and then sideways is about this long. So I need to make my bowl a little bit longer. Don't do anything too dark because you're gonna have to fix things a lot when you're drawing from direct observation. Okay, here's my bowl. I feel pretty good about it. So now we need to work on the things that are around it, and we're gonna base it on this bowl. Something really important is that you need to draw what you are seeing and not what you know. So you know that a bowl actually from the top looks like this, but from the way we're looking at it, it turns into an oval, okay? And then same with this. It doesn't go straight like this. If I'm looking at it, it's gonna be more curved like this. Okay, so you need to be drawing it the way it looks and not the way that you have known it to be. Okay, next to my bowl, I have the pencil cup. So I'm gonna work on that next. The bottom of the pencil cup comes about here on the bowl. It's kind of like gridding where you're using the grids to help you, except with direct observation, you're using the first object you drew to draw the rest of them. goes about to here. Based on the things that I'm looking at, I can tell that the cup is about this much higher than where I have the bowl. And then the bottom of the cup comes to about halfway on my bowl that I already drew. Okay, now we're gonna do the spoon. The spoon comes really close to the cup over here, and it ends about this far away from that cup that we just drew. So as soon as you add an object and you think it looks right to the one that you have first, then you can also use the new objects to help you decide where to put things. So the handle of that spoon comes out here, and then it comes down, and then the bottom of the spoon ends up over here. Okay, this part is going to be really tricky because I know that a spoon looks like this, right? But from where I'm sitting, it does not look like that. We're also gonna be shading at the end, and so that's gonna really help you make these objects look more realistic. Okay, now I'm gonna do this cut back here. It comes about here on my bowl, and then it comes out a little bit, and it goes above my pencil cup to about here. Okay, then I'm going to move on to my paint, which comes to about here on the bowl, and then comes out about this far from the bowl. I can measure it with my pencil. It comes about this far, which is good. That's what I have. Okay, and then this is about halfway. It's a little bit higher than where this one comes on the bowl. It comes a little bit higher up. And it ends higher than this, but not as high as here. So I think it should end about right here. The first one, the yellow one. Okay. And then there's one on top of it, but it's a little bit to the side. So I'm gonna put it up here like this. And it comes above there. So I think it ends about right here. It's okay if your objects go off the paper. That's actually better. And then there's a plate. Okay, then you're gonna work on your shading. It's the same as before. You gotta figure out where your light is coming from. For me, it's coming over here from the window and the lights. So I'm gonna just shade one item right now. Let's worry about the bowl. You look at this bowl, the darkest part is actually here on this side. And then there's some highlights in here. And there's also some shadows on this side and then definitely underneath. So I'm gonna start over here. This is just like before when you were shading your faces. You need to make sure you get all of those shades in there that you made on that grid before. For round objects like this, it's better to shade round instead of straight. So shading this direction like this instead of just shading this way. If I shaded this way on something round, it wouldn't end up looking round. So if I was shading this here, it doesn't necessarily look round until I actually curve it with my pencil and shade curved like this. Okay. Okay, there's our first object, and you're gonna go and shade all of them. Okay, on your project, I want you to fill your whole paper. Right now, this is just a little bit of things, but I'm gonna have something set up for you so that you have lots of options. And I want it to be really big and take up the whole paper, okay? Don't just have it in the middle of a table like this. I want you to blow it up. Maybe make it zoomed in or bigger than it looks in person, okay? I'll put some examples now on the video.